us some inspiration. Every act under the face of the sun has a reason, has a purpose. Even if the individual committing the act is unaware of the reason or the purpose for the act, we should not assume that there is no reason or no purpose for any act. You may ask some of your colleagues here on the university campus, you might ask them, why did you come to Sacramento? And they can, in all honesty, respond to you, But simply because they respond to you, you should not assume that there is no reason for them coming to the university. There is a reason. The people are unaware of the reason, but there is a reason. I see it all the time. I asked a sister the other day, I said, why do you fry your hair? She says, I don't know. All right, there's a reason. Conscious men and women try to understand the reason for all of their acts. Revolutionaries, I am a revolutionary. Revolutionaries try not only to understand the reason for their acts, but try to effectuate the reasons for their acts. I have a reason for coming here this morning. As a human being, understanding that my people are oppressed and unfree, I instinctively know that I can only reach my fullest human potential when my people are free. Therefore, my task in life is to give all of my energies towards the liberation of the masses of my people. My people at this time are totally disorganized everywhere. My central task is the organization of the masses of my people. Thus, my purposeful life centers around the liberation of the masses of my people, and I understand that my people will not be liberated until they're organized. Therefore, my central task is the organization of the masses of my people. It is in light of this understanding that we come here today. We hope that through our discussion to come to collect from among the African students here the most intelligent, the most dedicated, the most serious, the most conscious, those who recognize that they have a responsibility to help alleviate the sufferings of the masses of their people. We come to collect some of these to come and help us work with building our party, the All-African People's Revolutionary Party. I must digress for a minute. Of course, I said that I've come to speak to the Africans. Of course, as I noticed in the room, there are many non-Africans. We live in America, it being a capitalist system, that is to say a system based on the exploitation of one by the other, of man by man. This system understands that the best way to keep the people exploited is to keep them confused. I met a man the other day. He asked me, he said, Kwame Ture, are you still talking about organizing Africans? I said, yes. He said, are you speaking about just organizing Africans? I said, yes. He said, don't you know there are other people in the world who are suffering? I said, yes. He said, well, do you know then you're just organizing Africans? I said, yes. He said, well, then you're a racist. I said, no, but you are. He said, I'm a racist. I said, of course. I said, Africans are a part of humanity. Africans are a suffering part of humanity. Anytime I benefit any part of humanity, I benefit all of humanity. Here, there is no confusion in this corner. We come to speak about the need to organize the most suffering part of humanity so that this part of humanity can make its proper contribution to humanity. We say the central task is the organization of the masses of the people. Our people are disorganized everywhere, and it is until we are organized that we will not be able to achieve our liberation. When a people are unfree, in order for them to be free, they must make sacrifices. When a people are unfree, in order for them to be free, they must make sacrifices. Some of our people are so confused that they think that in order to be free, all they have to do is get a big car and a big house. They really believe that while the masses of our people are unfree, they can arrive at freedom by driving in a Cadillac. In order to be free, we must make sacrifices. As a matter of fact, one can tell how one is producing in the liberation struggle for the masses of one's people by the sacrifices that one is willing to make. Of course, we understand precisely what is a sacrifice. Malcolm X told us once when queried by an interviewer, he asked Malcolm, he said, "Malcolm, what is the price of freedom?" Malcolm, without blinking, responded, "The price of freedom is death." When one is willing to be free, when one wants to be free, one must be willing to give one's life. It is clear then that when we come to talk about the freedom of the people, in the first instant, we must find those who are willing to sacrifice. Our party, the All-African People's Revolutionary Party, seeks to get among the students those who are willing to sacrifice, at least in the beginning, time. That is to say, the American capitalist system can so organize us that our time is spent in trivial things and not spent in the things that are extremely important and necessary to us. No one sitting in the audience can deny the fact that every man and woman should know their history, understand their history, and use their history as a guide to the future. And yet no one sitting in the audience cannot deny that the American capitalist system has so lied about our history that Africans in this country must come to understand that the only way we will get our correct history is when we ourselves come to study it and then begin to write it. We said it is clear. No one will deny it. Oh, another tangent, I'm sorry. I've just been using the word African like this, and some people may be confused. They may think that when I say African, I say something else. But when I say African, I mean just that, African. When I say African, I mean those of us who are Africans, whether we know we're Africans or not. The other day, I met a confused man. He said to me, "You're going around calling all of our people Africans." I said, "That's what they are." He said, "But the majority don't know that they're Africans." I said, "When you come to ask a question of the majority, the only question you ask is the action they are committing correct or incorrect?" The majority cannot give you the truth. A few years ago, the majority of people in Europe thought the world was flat. They thought it. They ordered their lives around the concept of the flatness of the world. We said the majority thought the world was flat. A man by the name of Magellan came along to show them how incorrect they were. He showed them by taking theory and applying it to concrete reality. He said the world was not flat. They argued. He left them arguing. He got in a ship. He started at point A. He went in a circle. He came back to point A. End of discussion. The truth, we said, is independent of the will of men and women. The truth, we say, is independent of the majority. The man said to me, "But if you go around America and you call them Africans, the majority will tell you they're not Africans." I told him the majority cannot give you the truth. A few years ago, the majority of our people were calling themselves Negroes. There's no such thing. Clearly here, we must come to understand that when we speak of freeing the people, we must come to understand the only way the people will be freed is by understanding the truth and living the truth. The truth is that we're Africans. When you come to free a people, we say they must be organized. When you come to organize a people, you must find proper and precise objectives which are going to free the people. The All-African People's Revolutionary Party says that the only solution to the problems that we face as a people is to be found in Pan-Africanism. Pan-Africanism is the total liberation and unification of Africa under scientific socialism. Pan-Africanism is the total liberation and unification of Africa under scientific socialism. Our party says no African anywhere in the world, not even in Sacramento, will be free until Africa is free. Understand the task that we have on our hands. We have to organize the people who are unorganized. In order to organize the people who are unorganized, we must make them conscious. The capitalist system does everything possible to make them unconscious. The only way the people can become conscious is through struggle. Our task then is to first demonstrate to the people the need for struggle, put them into struggle. Through struggle, let them become conscious. From this consciousness, get organization. This organization will feed back to the consciousness. The more perfect the organization, the better able the people are to move towards their liberation. Our task then is to make our people conscious and to put them into organization. We say from the very beginning that in order for them to be conscious, they must be struggling. We can see it everywhere. You may come into my class as a freshman in physics. If I'm your instructor in physics, when you come into the class, if I give you a complicated physics problem, it is clear you, never having had any contact with physics, will be incapable of solving the problem. If you are a conscious student, if you're not like the majority, who just sit there and try and learn by osmosis, if you're a conscious student, you will come to struggle with physics. You will struggle with it, study with it, come to master it. The more you struggle with it, the better able you are to master it. If you spend 2, 3, 4 years struggling with physics, mastering it, no problem then will be complicated to you. But let it be clear, the only way you come to master any subject is through struggle with the subject, through constant struggle. The struggle is constant. Even if you come to my class as a freshman, and I, as your instructor, give you physics for 1 year, and you get an A in physics in 1 year, and you do no further study in physics, you will go backward because physics keeps advancing. The struggle for consciousness is a constant struggle. Therefore, on the first emphasis, we must let the people know that the struggle for freedom is a constant struggle. There is no stopping here. There is no letting up. As a matter of fact, we struggle more today, we struggle better today than we did yesterday. Tomorrow, we will struggle even more, and we will struggle even better. Here, emphasis must be laid clearly. We say in the first instant, the people must struggle, and they must struggle clearly. In the organization, once we've come to define the objective, now we'll come to see the enemy in a scientific light. Of course, if one doesn't define one's objective, the enemy will take on, the decision of who the enemy is, will take on sentimental aspects. But once you've defined an objective, once you know where you're going, once you know this objective is a correct objective, then we say your definition of the enemy is scientific. Once we say Pan-Africanism is the way the people will be freed, that is to say, the people will only be freed when they know, when they see Africa unified, when Africa is strong and able to protect them, then our enemy is very clear. Anybody who gets in the way of the march of the people is an enemy of the people, be it my mother, be it my sister, be it my brother. Here, our definition of the enemy is scientific. When we come to understand that in order for us to be free as a people, we must arrive at Pan-Africanism, the total liberation and unification of Africa under scientific socialism, then we come to understand that the biggest enemy in the way to the arrival of this solution is the American imperialist system. Therefore, we know instinctively, in order for our people to be free, American capitalism must be destroyed. Here we say, of course, must be. Here, we say the definition is scientific, not sentimental. I don't care whether you like me or you don't like me. If you're working for the people, I'm your brother. I don't care if you're my mother or my father. If you're against the people, you're against me, and I'm against you. The definition must be scientific. The very organization which we seek to create for the people must be a scientific organization. No mystification can be allowed in this organization. Here, we must relentlessly and ruthlessly and uncompromisingly root out any aspect of mystification that seeks to confuse the people. Here, we want only science, because once science is put before, everybody can see it, understand it, and make a contribution to it. We said, once the people have come to define their goals and they know the enemy, the task now is to make the people come to see that the struggle against the enemy is a constant struggle. Look at this capitalist system. Look at what it does to us in the first instance. What it seeks to do is to make the people think they're thinking when in fact they're not thinking, but only reacting to stimuli. Not only this. Of course. Not only this, we can further add Not only does it just make the people respond to stimuli, but the people make analysis without having any information at all. Understand precisely what we're saying. We're saying the capitalist system makes the American people respond to stimuli. They have no information about that which they're responding to. But what is tragic about the American capitalist system is that not only do they not know anything about what they're responding to, but they do not want to know anything about what they're responding to. Stupid system. The capitalist system is a stupid and backward system. Look at the reaction. The other day I was on a college campus. I saw a brother coming out the door. I said, "Hey, my African brother, how you doing, African?" He said, "I ain't no African." He thought he's thinking. So I'm sorry, my brother. I'm terribly sorry. It's just that you look like me, and I thought, No. He said, "I don't care what you say. I ain't no African. In the first place, I wasn't even born in Africa." I said, "You see, you haven't been reading Malcolm X? Had you been reading Malcolm X, there would be no confusion here. Malcolm says if a cat has babies in an oven, you don't call the babies biscuits." Malcolm rough. Malcolm is rough. Malcolm is rough. Said to me, "I ain't no African." He was ready to fight me over the question. "I ain't no African, I ain't no this." What was pathetic was this man who was reacting so much to a stimuli based on all these arguments given were arguments given out of stupidity because this man knows nothing about Africa at all. No man, no woman living in America who has not taken it upon themselves the will and the initiative to fight against the lies of Africa presented in this country can know anything about Africa in the first place. Thus here comes a man, stupid as he is, knowing nothing about Africa, telling me he's not an African, and what is worse, I tell him, "Okay, why don't you learn something about Africa? I don't want to know nothing about Africa." We see it everywhere. We give a specific example, but we can show it we can show it on a general level for the society. If you go around America and you take a poll of the American people as to their position on communism, you will find that 90% of the people in America are against communism. They hate it. If you will ask this 90% what is communism, you will come to find that less than 2% know what communism is. We're saying, of all these people in America who hate communism, they don't know what it is, but what is more important, not only do they don't know what it is, they don't want to know what it is. I met a stupid man the other day. He'd been to Vietnam, got defeated in Vietnam by communism, and still don't want to know what it is. Could you imagine that? I said to him, he said, "You know I'm against communism." I said, "Well, look here, I'm glad you are, because I got a little book about it, and I'd like you to." "Don't give me that book. I know you're trying to brainwash me." Stupid man. Look at how stupid he is. When you react to stimuli, thinking you're thinking, when in fact you're not thinking, you're totally confused. The American capitalist pigs can use you the way they want to use you. The American people hate communism, don't know anything about it. When these capitalist pigs want to use the people, you know what they say? "Hey, the communists are coming." The people grab the guns. "Where?" "Santo Domingo." "Which way is that?" "Over there." "Okay." "Where?" "Vietnam." "Which way is that?" "All right." "Afghanistan." "Which way?" "All right." I met a man the other day. We're in the airport. Came up, said to me, "Brother," he said, "I'm getting ready to sign up." I said, "Oh, that's good. I'm glad to hear that." He said, "Yeah." He said, "Our country's in trouble." I said, "Yeah, it's been for 500 years. "Yeah." He said, "I'm going to sign up." I said, "Fine." SWAPO, PAC, ANC. He said, "No, I'm signing up with the American Army." I said, "The who?" He said, "The American Army." I said, "Why?" He said, "We're in trouble." I said, "Where?" He said, "In Afghanistan." I said, "Where?" He said, "Afghanistan." I said, "How do you spell it?" I said, "Tell me something of the nature of the political regime in Afghanistan." He didn't know. I asked him, "What is the military resources of Afghanistan?" He didn't know. I asked him something of the culture of Afghanistan. He didn't know. I asked him about the religion of Afghanistan. He didn't know. I asked him of the language that they spoke in Afghanistan. He didn't know. Finally, I said, "Brother, what about the weather?" He didn't know that either. But he's willing to go. The capitalist system makes you stupid and makes you think you're intelligent while in fact you're stupid. Unless you have information at your fingertips, you cannot make analysis. Therefore, no African in this country is capable of talking about Africa until they have information at their fingertips about Africa, in the first instance. Anytime a man comes to tell you that he's against Africa, it is a result of political education, and this is crucial, and this is the key to the answer. It is political education that determines the outlook of people. And we get political education in this country whether we like it or not. And the political education is constant, it's ubiquitous, it's nonstop. This man who comes to hate Africa, he comes to hate Africa how? First of all, from the time his first introduction to Africa was Tarzan. Of course. Of course. Oh, you may think it doesn't make a difference, but Sigmund Freud scientifically proved that anything that enters the mind never leaves it, even if the individual thinks they have forgotten it. Of course. If all we've been seeing is Tarzan, we have negative pictures of Africa embedded in our minds. And if we do not take the time out to put correct images of Africa in our minds, the only thing in our minds are these negative images. Here then, we come to show that in order for the people to be free and to be conscious, they must be politically educated themselves. No people send their children to the enemy to be educated except us. We say this process of political education must come to be properly understood. It is political education that makes you respond to stimuli. I'm a conscious brother. I'm conscious. I've been conscious a long time. I'm so conscious that I never read American newspapers, I never listen to the radio in America, I never look at television in America if I'm tired. When I look at the television, when I read the newspaper, when I listen to the radio, I'm alert. I'm alert because I know these media are trying to sneak inside of me reactionary values, and if I'm not careful, if I'm tired, they might just succeed in sneaking up inside of me. Let me give you an example. I say it's everywhere. I'm conscious. So conscious am I that if I'm looking at television or I'm listening to radio and I hear commercials, I tune out automatically. I know these people just trying to get me to buy something I ain't going to buy it no how. Yeah. So it's just a waste of time on my part. But as conscious as I am, as much as I fight it, tuning out every time I hear commercials, do you know if I'm driving down the highway at night, which is frequently, and I'm hungry, the first thing that pops up in my mind is a little tune singing, "At McDonald's." Oh, they are serious. They don't play. And I'm conscious. I fight it. What about those who do not? What about those who do not? We say, in order for a people to be free, they must be conscious, and this consciousness is a result of struggle. And this struggle must be conscious. We're giving examples only to show the capitalist system. We can give more examples, but it is not necessary really for us to go through all of this. All of us know that our people in the first instance, as history is presented to us by this country, is incorrect, and it must be corrected, and it will be only corrected by us. This is clear. Therefore here, what is necessary is for the people to come and to get the will and to make their will more determined and overpower the will of the capitalist system, which seeks to undermine the will of the people to do that which is proper and correct for humanity. Capitalism does this by using some tricks. We want to use only one trick to show you how it comes about. Life changes only through the dialectical process. That is to say, the only way that change occurs is through the dialectical process. Of course, one thing is clear. Everything is changing all the time. Some people get confused, but everything is changing all the time. For example, if you don't believe me, everything is changing all the time. If you came into this room at 11 o'clock, you are now 25 minutes closer to death than when you first walked in the room. And everything changes all the time. Nothing stands still. Nothing stands still. The only way change occurs, we say, is through the dialectical process the American capitalist system will seek to confuse. Simply stated, the dialectical process says that inside of every entity there exists positive and negative. And these positive and negative forces are in constant struggle, one seeking to dominate the other. We know it appears everywhere. Today, thanks to hard science, we can prove it with the piano. This piano is undergoing changes right now before our very eyes. Were we to sit here for any length of time and observe this piano, 50, 100 years, it would decompose itself before our very eyes. Its decomposition is a result of the struggle occurring inside the piano. Today, thanks to hard science, we know the piano is made up of a molecular structure. Inside of this molecular structure is to be found protons and electrons, positive and negative forces. The protons and the electrons in the molecular structure are constantly engaged in struggle, the proton seeking to dominate the electron seeking to dominate the proton. As they struggle for positions of domination, here is allowed the fluidity to bring about change. This process continues. As they move, they will break up elements, form new compounds. This process would continue ad infinitum when before our eyes the piano would decompose itself. We say, unlike bourgeois scholars, we say the same process occurs in society and for social human beings, that inside each of us there are positive and negative forces, and these forces are in constant struggle with each other. And if we are not conscious to make the positive overwhelm the negative, we will be dominated by the negative and not even be aware of it. Quickly, to give some examples, you're students. Every student knows instinctively that students shouldn't cheat. End of discussion. Of course, they don't even have to be taught. That's love. They just know it. It is clear that you have a constant struggle between cheating and not cheating. Oh, we also want to point out one thing. There is no middle ground here. There is no in-between here. Either you're positive dominantly or you're negative dominantly. Ain't no in-between ground. Either you cheat or you don't cheat. Or as a brother tried to say to me, well, I only cheat sometimes. All right. All right. Or as a sister told me, well, I only fry my hair sometimes. Okay. All right. We say there's no middle ground. Either you cheat or you don't cheat. We say the struggle is constant. We wish to emphasize it. If I'm in elementary school and I'm a student who don't cheat, I cannot assume that from this power which I have, this consciousness which I have in elementary school, that it will carry me through my life. Not at all. As a matter of fact, as I grow each day, I must become stronger, because the temptations to cheat also become stronger. If I'm in elementary school, to cheat or not to cheat is not such a big thing, because everybody will go to high school anyway, more or less. Once I get to high school, the temptation to cheat is greater. If I cheat, I can go to college. If I don't cheat, I may not go. When I get to college, the temptation to cheat gets even greater. If I cheat, I get a good job. And when I get out of college, that's when the temptation really begins. Thus here, we come to emphasize the student in elementary school who doesn't cheat, in order not to cheat in high school, must be stronger than they were in their position in elementary school. And when they get to high school, they must be stronger. And when they get to college, they must be stronger. And when they get out of college, they must be even stronger. They must get to the position where they tell you, I don't want nothing I didn't work for. Yes. We say here, this position must be constant. The struggle to be positive is a constant struggle, especially in a capitalist system which seeks to make everything negative and turn everybody into stupid negative entities without their being conscious of that which they do. Here, we emphasize then this process of dialectical change, this process of constant struggle, this process of taking the positive and seeing it as a constant means to overwhelm the negative and to keep burying the negative. Let it be understood. There will always be the negative. There will always be the negative. The student who doesn't cheat in elementary school has a tendency to cheat. It is there. The student who doesn't cheat in high school has a greater tendency to cheat than they did in elementary school. It is there. Therefore here, the struggle is constant. We can never get rid of the negative. Never. The student who cheats can never assume that they will always, a student who doesn't cheat cannot assume that through their life they will not cheat. No. In order to ensure they do not cheat, it's a constant struggle. We've seen it. We've seen people who started off thinking they were revolutionary in the 60s and not building and making themselves conscious, and by the 70s they were working for the government. Yeah. Of course. Of course. You see, it's a constant struggle. It's a constant struggle. The people must be free. In order for the people to be free, they must understand this process of consciousness, how it works, and comes to control it. The capitalist system understands well the dialectical process. It claims not to know about it. It even claims to explain change coming about through mystical reasons. But it understands well the dialectical process. It's by handling the dialectic process so well that it confuses the people. Let me give you an example. Stated in the dialectical process is the fact that everything has at the same time similarities and dissimilarities with every other thing. Here, this woman sitting here in the first seat, this comrade here, she and I are the same in that we're human beings. Here, exactly equal. But also, while being the same, we're different. She's a woman, I'm a man. While everything has similarities, it also has dissimilarities. The capitalist system, in order to make the people unconscious, to direct them, give what is known as a one-sided view of history or a one-sided view of things. If the capitalist system wants me to come closer to this comrade, it will show me only the similarities that we have. If it wants me to be away from this comrade, it will show me only the dissimilarities that we have. Only a one-sided view of history. For example, the man who claims not to be African, my brother who was so confused, he came to tell me, well, the reason why I ain't no African is because we so different. I understood what the problem was. All he's been taught was the differences. You know, from the time you're small, all they tell you, you're different, they don't want you, you're not like them, you were slaves, they weren't slaves. All you get is a difference. This man said, we're different. Of course, there are also similarities. Of course, we will not state just underhandedly that the similarities between Africans in America and Africans on the continent and Africans in South and Central America and Africans in the Caribbean, we will not state underhandedly that the similarities far outweigh the dissimilarities. We will not state it. We will just show it. This man was arguing. I told him, I said, come. We were in Nashville. I said, come. Get a white man born in Nashville. You come. Let me get a Ashanti, a Watusi. I put all of you to dance. Whom do you think you will dance closer to? Here, if one is not careful, the similarities will completely miss one. We say the capitalist system comes to confuse us by giving us a one-sided view of history. What it seeks to do is to make us act like animals while being human beings, and think while acting like animals, we're in fact acting like human beings. If you come to your hospital in Sacramento and you see me with a white coat on and a stethoscope around my neck, and they told you that I graduated from Sacramento with all A's, Phi Beta Kappa in medicine, but you've never seen me perform an operation, and I've never performed an operation, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a doctor. I say some people become confused. Well, you see, the capitalist system is so confusing that they just have beauty queens. Beauty queens? You mean just like how they look, you can tell something about them? I remember when I was a student at Howard University in pre-med with another young brother. He said to me one day, he said, you know, I'm going to be a doctor. I said, yeah, me too. He said, well, you know what, man? He said, you're going to be a doctor. You need to get you a light-skinned sister with long hair. I said, why? Because she's fine. Do you know some people just marry people because of the way they look? She's pretty, I'm going to marry her. Once when I was in the People's Revolutionary Republic of Guinea, where I live in West Africa, I was ill. When I'm in America, if I get sick, I try to save my sickness till I get home. Yeah. See, Guinea is a socialist country. In socialism, medicine is free. I get sick in America, I'm in trouble. Matter of fact, they tell you before you get in the hospital, how much money you got? I ain't got no money, you can't get in. But I'm dying. Where's your money? Yes. I was being treated by a young nurse. At the time, I wasn't married, and like a brother, I said, I'd just try to hit on this sister here. I was just talking to the sister. The sister told me one time, she said, you know what? I said, no. She says, I have the prettiest thighs in the world. I said, you do? She said, yes. I said, I don't know that. She says, well, you won't know because you've never seen them. I said, even if I see them, I won't know that. She says, oh, no. Anybody who sees them say they're beautiful. I said, well, I'm just revolutionary. And by seeing something, I cannot tell if it's beautiful or not. The only way I can tell if something is beautiful is how it functions. The better, of course. Of course. I told her the only way I would know her thighs were beautiful if I see her walking or running. You know, once I saw the thighs functioning. I say, some get carried away just by form, not by content. This is how the capitalist system comes to confuse. Look at what it does on the question of Iran. It's pathetic. In the first place, it presents Ayatollah Khomeini as a crazy man, a maniac, a stupid man. Well, of course, anybody against America, imperialism, must be crazy, must be stupid, must be maniac for America. That's clear. The people become so confused that some of them actually believe this propaganda about Ayatollah Khomeini. But even if one agrees and one is fooled to accept this propaganda of Ayatollah Khomeini, I am bewildered to understand how an intelligent man or intelligent woman can come to allow their what would be hatred for Ayatollah Khomeini come to stop the just support of the Iranian people who seek nothing else than to control the natural resources of their country and determine their political life. Of course. We say everywhere there's confusion. We say everywhere there's confusion. Watch how it confuses on the question of philosophy. I met a man the other day, a stupid man. He said to me, I said to him, my brother, our people need to be organized. He said, yeah, he said, I hear you talking that stuff. I said, brother, our people need to be organized. I said, the trouble with you, brother Kwame, is that you're just talking that idealistic stuff. You think all our people are going to be organized. I said, of course. He said, no, everybody knows in life it's just the fittest, the most fit are the ones who survive. And our people are weak. So what you need to do is go collect the strongest, the handful who's strong, and wage the revolution. I told him, I said, you are a stupid man. I told him, you are imbued with capitalist philosophy. You are so confused that you've taken philosophy, which dominate the lower forms of the animals, and come to place it on us. I said, this cannot be done. I said, you're stupid. He said, how do you mean that? I said, look, the capitalist system have you so confused that it makes you think because we have similarities with the lower forms of animals that we must act and think like them, and the philosophies that dominate their lives dominate our lives. I said, not at all. Not at all. We have similarities with the animals of the lower form. They have instinct. We have instinct. All entities are endowed with instinct. If one believes in God, God gives it to them. If one doesn't believe in God, nature gives it to them. One thing is clear, every entity has instinct. Instinct allows these entities to live, to feed themselves, to procreate, and to protect the species. Every animal has it. We too, of the higher forms of animals, the more complex form of animals, we also have instinct. Here, we are just like the animals. We have the same instincts they have. Sex urge, hunger, the strike to survive, we have it. But we are also different from the animals of the lower forms. We are different in two aspects, in the material aspect and in the immaterial aspect. In the material aspect, we are shaped differently. We walk upright. We have hands. These hands allow us the ability to make tools, to fashion tools, and with our ability to make and fashion tools, we can come to transform the environment for the better. For the better. For example, we want to build a university, we want to build a college at Sacramento. We come here, we find nothing but bush and trees. We say we want to transform it and build a university. We bring cranes, we bring cement. We bring bricks, we bring men, we bring women, we bring hammers, we bring nails. We transform the environment and we build a university. We say the animals cannot do this. The dog has been here for a long time. He may be here for a longer time, but if I don't build a doghouse for the dog, it'll never get built. We're also different from the animals of the lower form in the immaterial aspect. We can think, they cannot. We can think, they cannot. The more we think, the less like them we act. The less we think, the more like them we act. The question on how we think is a question of political education. Look at it. We say the animals of the lower form have a sex urge. When they have a sex urge, if an animal has a sex urge, he just takes any other animal and he mates. Men and women, we have sex urge. But certainly when a man or a woman gets a sex urge, society will not accept it if this man or woman just takes and rapes any man or woman. No. Political education decides it. As a matter of fact, the man who rapes the woman is lacking in political education of the relationships between man and woman. The reason why so many rapes are in the increase because of the political education in America. Promiscuity everywhere. Looseness of sex everywhere. It's political education just driving people towards rape. Everything is a result of the question of political education for man or woman. It is political education that decides your dignity and your integrity. We say it decides everything. We must come to see clearly, since we are shaped different from the animals, and still we have this intellect, as a matter of fact, it is this development of the intellect that will differentiate us between the animals and put us on a higher qualified life. We have the ability to transform the environment just through the way we're shaped. We have the ability to transform our relationships to higher qualified level by the way we think. We say it is this that will differentiate us. They're animals of the lower form which are stronger than we are, which are physically bigger than any one man. They can come to just tear us apart, but they can't think. The elephant, big as he is, he can't think. Matter of fact, the elephant, he come to get me, I get an elephant gun for him. Yes, he never make an elephant gun. Not at all. This ability to think must be seen properly. It is this ability to think that will decide the quality of the individual. We want to make one other thing clear. This capitalist system, of course, seeks to confuse the people totally. It seeks to put all sorts of limitations on them. I met a man the other day, another stupid and confused man. Oh, if stupidity would be paid, we'd be millionaires. Man said to me, he said, Brother Kwame, are you still saying that we're going to defeat American imperialism? I said, of course. He said, you think we're going to defeat it? I said, we're going to trample it into an oblivion of nothingness. He said, you really think so? I said, I know so. Man, how are we going to do that? They got guns, they got power, they got nuclear energy, they got nuclear bombs, they got this, they got that. I told him, there is nothing man and woman cannot do. End of discussion. Not only is there nothing man and woman cannot do, we can state affirmatively that there is nothing man and woman will not do for their freedom. Clearly. Clearly. Yeah, we have said it. This all depends again upon this man taking this animal philosophy and applying it to us. If I take 100 cattle and I send 100 cattle to a piece of ground that can at that time only feed 30 cattle, I would be correct. I would be logical if I were to say that after X period of time, 70 cattle will be dead, either because they were eaten up by other cattle or because they died of starvation. But if I take 100 men and 100 women and send them to a piece of ground that only feeds 30 human beings, I would be incorrect. I would be illogical, and I would have no understanding of human nature if I were to say that after X period of time, 70 human beings will die, either having been eaten up by others or of starvation. Not at all. These human beings will come and take this piece of land that feeds only 30 and make it feed 1,000,000 because there is nothing man and woman cannot do. We want to emphasize the point over and over again. I told the man, there's nothing we will not do for our freedom. Once you understand that, all we must do is collect this will and this energy and drive it and direct it to correct path. We will be free, quick, fast, in a hurry. One final thing about this lower form of the animals. We said in the very beginning that the people who are oppressed will only be free by being conscious and organized. The capitalist system comes to confuse us. It seeks to tell each of us that we can solve the problems of the people individually. Matter of fact, the capitalist system pushes individuality to a ludicrous height, stupidity. A man the other day came to tell me, well, you know the only way you can do it is by the individual. I said, don't be stupid, it's the people here. He said, the people are stupid. You need real intelligent human beings. I said, everything every human being learns, he learns from the people. He told me no. This man came to wage what he thought was rational argument. He said, there props up here and there men who are genius, and these men are just genius, and the people even, they learn from these men. I said, every man learns from the people. He said, look, I'll give you an example. He said, have you ever heard of Beethoven? I said, Beethoven. Wasn't he the man that was the piano, wrote some classic? Matter of fact, he was almost deaf, but he wrote all this music. I said, I see. I'm sorry, just for my clarifications. Tell me, did this man Beethoven, did he invent the piano? I see. All right. All right. When he saw his fallacy here, he came to jump back. He said, all right, leave that one. He said, Einstein. I said, yes, this man Einstein, did he first give us the 2 + 2 = 4? All knowledge is the result of the masses of the people in struggle against nature and struggle against inhuman forces. We can show it everywhere. If we don't declare, we become confused. We act like the animals and think we act like human beings. If you see a man driving a Cadillac down the street, you shouldn't assume that he's a human being. Monkeys can drive Cadillacs. Of course. Of course. We said as revolutionaries. In order for us to know the usefulness of a thing, in order for us to know the beauty of a thing, we can only know the beauty of it in its utility. The only way we can know a human being is when they act like a human being. Just because they look like a human being does not make them a human being. Clearly. I told the man, I said, you're speaking nonsense. You cannot even speak about individuality. The way you speak and act like an animal. He said, no. I said, of course. I said, you can take a pup, a baby dog. You can take a kitten, a baby cat, the minute it's born. Take the dog, take the cat, throw them in the woods, isolate them. Never let them see another cat. Let them never see another dog. As a matter of fact, keep them isolated from all other animals. This kitten, this pup, will grow up and reach their fullest animal potential isolated by themselves. That is to say, the cat will eat, sleep, protect itself. If it looks like it finds something it can reproduce with, it will try to reproduce. The cat will even meow, even though it's never heard another cat meow. The same is true of the dog. Animals of the lower form, isolated by themselves, will grow to their fullest animal potential. I told the man, I said, take a human being, a child, the minute he or she is born. Take this child and put it in the woods and isolate it by itself. It will never reach its fullest human potential. It is questionable whether the child will walk upright. But even if the child does walk upright, it will not be questionable. The child will be incapable of functioning in any society simply because it will not even be able to speak. Let it be crystal clear. Everything we learn from the people. Everything we learn from the people. Once we're conscious, since we know everything we learn from the people, we come to understand that everything we learn, we must give back to the people. Of course. Of course. The American capitalist system has students so confused that when they get knowledge, not only do they not give it back to the people, but the only way they give it up is when they can make a living. That is to say, the student comes and takes the knowledge given to them by the mass of the people from generations and tries to take this knowledge and seize it and make it their own and make it a commodity. Knowledge can never be made a commodity. It comes from the people. It goes back to the people. The American capitalist system makes knowledge a commodity. As a matter of fact, just to get into college, you got to pay money. If you got to buy it, it's logical. Don't give it up unless somebody buys it from you. Everywhere there is confusion. It is this process of political education that will come to let us see. Political education is taking instinct and fashioning instinct and making instinct rational to help develop better relationships between man and woman. We gave the example of the man who rapes a woman. Here, this man is taking instinct and not putting ration and reason to guide his instinct. As a matter of fact, so powerful is the capitalist system that it can take instinct and distort instinct. That's what it does in the case of the Africans in America. Look, in the first instance, it is clear. Any man, any animal of the lower form, even a cat, you take your cat in your house, let somebody come and steal your cat from your house where the cat has grown up, and take the cat somewhere else. The cat will do everything possible to try and come back home. Take a dog. Throw the dog anywhere. That dog will do everything to try and come back home. Look at the elephant. As big as the elephant is, take the elephant anywhere. When it's time for him to die, he will try every possible means to go back to where he was born and die. We say it's instinctive. Any man, take any man, any woman, they always tell you, well, before I die, I want to go back home. Take us. They kidnap us, take us from home, beat us, brutalize us, kick us, exploit us, and we don't even want to go, don't even want to know. What home? This is our home. You mean the plantation? Yeah, this is the only home I know. Look at you. Look at you. They've come to distort completely your own instinctive will. Instinctively, you want to go home. We're the only ones who don't want to go. It's a question of political education. It can be seen more precisely. Go around your college campus among the white students here and ask them, what is your ancestry? They will tell you very quickly and very proudly, German, Italian, French, Russian, Polish. Come to us and ask us, well, my mother was born in San Francisco. And your grandmother? My grandmother, she was born in Oklahoma. And your great-grandmother, I think she was born in Texas. And your great-great-grandmother, well, I don't know. I know. Africa, of course. Look at what the political education system does. If one would take a quick look at history, one would see, number one, in the first instance, Africa has never done anything to any other nation. All other European nations have either infiltrated, first of all, they either rob from Africa or rob amongst themselves. That is to say, the European in America, when asked where they come from, they tell you quickly, Germany, without being ashamed. Of course, they have no reason to be ashamed. They tell you Russia, without being ashamed. They have no reason to be ashamed. But when it comes to us, who should be more proud to say Africa? Since Africa has never done anything to anybody, we are the most ashamed. It's a question of political education. It is a question of political education. In order for a people to be free, they must control their own process of political education. One last point on the capitalist system before we open for questions, before we end up. I want to use one example to show you how confusing this capitalist system is. Here again, our intent is to show you the necessity for constant struggle against the system, constant, all the time. You can't sit down for 1 minute with these pigs. They're trying to trick you everywhere. Some people think the capitalist system lies all the time. Some of the time. It lies all the time. Just look at our history. You will see its presentation. Or better yet, I tell brothers, not only does it lie all the time, I can't understand how it blocks people from thinking, from looking for things familiar. For example, I know this country very well. Do you know few people in this country know anything about this country before 1492 and don't care to know? They will do archaeology studies in Africa. They will do archaeology studies in China. But they don't do them here. And the people don't even try to know. Of course, if you went back too far, you might really come to see the land belongs to the Indians, and that will really cause some, sure enough, confusion. Yes. Of course. We're just giving examples anywhere. The one we want to give, though, is to show what does capitalism hope to do? In the first place, it hopes to confuse the people, to let them think that they are thinking when in fact they're not thinking. Let the people think they know something when in fact they know nothing. We want to use one example. We want to take religion. We say one thing in the very beginning. We who are revolutionary, we know that once we're fighting for justice, even if isolated, we're in total harmony with the masses of the people all over the world. Our statement is clear. We say, human beings, unlike animals, have one instinct that animals do not have. Human beings have an instinct for justice. Understand properly what we say. We come to say that human beings have an instinct for justice. That is to say, this instinct which they have is an instinct which they don't have to be taught. They know that which is just automatically. Like we said, every student knows to cheat is unjust and not to cheat is just. They know it. They don't have to be taught it. Human beings know it. And human beings everywhere demonstrate this ability. Look, we can look for two aspects to confirm the thesis. First from the enemy and then to the people. No enemy of mankind, no pig, no fascist, no tyrant has ever come before the mass of the people and say to them, we're going to fight to rape and to cheat and to exploit. Not at all. They come to lie to the people, to make the people believe that that which the people are fighting for is just, even though it is unjust. Here we say, even tyrants, even fascists, even pigs come to lie to the masses of the people to deceive them, let them think they're fighting for just ends when in fact they're fighting for unjust ends. History demonstrates this everywhere. Hitler never came before the people and told them that their cause was a cause to rape people. On the contrary, he tried to justify it on the grounds of scientific and historical justice. Look at the Ku Klux Klan. The imperial wizard never comes before the Klan and says to them, look here, we're going to kill people just because of the color of their skin, and that makes us the most stupid, despicable pigs that humanity has ever seen. Never. When the Ku Klux Klan wizard comes before the people, he tries to even confuse these white people, letting them think that by killing and burning and lynching Africans, they're doing that which is in harmony with Christianity and civilization. The truth is everywhere. It's everywhere. Here then we reinforce and underline our thesis. Even the Ku Klux Klan has an instinct for justice. The masses of them do. Yes, it is confusion here. We can see it everywhere. We can see it everywhere. You can see it, for example, during the Vietnam War. The job of the American capitalist system was to lie to the masses of the young people in this country, let them really think they were fighting for democracy when in fact they were fighting against themselves. But here, we said they tried to fool the people. We can go now to the people to again confirm the thesis. If you will take all of your scholars in whatever branch of science you will, history, anthropology, archaeology, you will find that every society that man and woman has found, isolated from every other society, has produced religions. We say, we have found no society yet that has not produced religions. If we will look at these societies, we will see that these religions vary widely. Some of them have many gods. Some of them have one God. Some of them have intangible gods. Some of them, like the American Indians, take the earth and make the earth their god. We say, wherever you will look at society, any society, isolated from every other society, you will find they've all produced religions. And that while these religions may vary widely, one would see that through them all runs a common essence, universal thread. The people love justice. Of course, some people come to be confused. They think that religions come into being because the people are afraid. Not at all. Those who come to control the society and are against the people will use religion to scare the people. But the reason for religion coming into being is because of the love of justice of the people. The people love justice so much that they must have gods. They ensure themselves that if you do something against me while I'm here on the face of the earth, if I can't get even with you, when you die, my God's going to punish you. The people love justice. Love it profoundly. The capitalist system will take this very love of justice, that is to say, take these very religions and make these religions tools against the people. Look at Christianity, for example. One of the laws that God gave to Moses when he was on the mountain was, "Thou shalt not kill." It is clear. It's written everywhere. Do you know, in every capitalist country in the world, in every capitalist army in the world, in every battalion of every capitalist army in the world, there is a chaplain? I always try to figure it out. You know, how are you going to read the book saying, "Thou shalt not kill," and bless somebody while they're going to kill? Well, capitalism, you understand it. You understand it. We have done it on a general level. We want to take it and bring Christianity down to us, the Africans. Our intent here is to show, if one is not constantly struggling against the capitalist system, it will make mincemeat out of you. It will make you think that you are doing right when in fact you are being obscene. If you will go around this country and you will ask the masses of our people, what is their religion, you will probably find that 90% of our people are Christians. I must say one thing. Our people today are more enthusiastic about religion than they are about any other aspect of our lives. We're more enthusiastic about religion than we are about our history. We're more enthusiastic about religion than we are about the liberation of the masses of our people. If you will look among this 90%, you will see that among the 90% of Africans who are Christians in this country, at least 75% are literate. That is to say, at least 75% of the Africans in America who are Christians can read and write. If you will take a further poll of this 75%, you will find that of the 75% Christians who are Africans in this country that can read and write, less than 2% have ever read the Bible from cover to cover. And what is more, the rest have no intentions of reading it from cover to cover before they die. And they swear by it. I mean, swear by it. We say the capitalist system makes the people lazy. It produces and it gives them the information. The people take it and think they know the information. Let me show you how the contradiction broke down. The other day, a brother invited me to church. I was happy to go. We were walking into church, you know. I figured it'd be an African church, you know. And we were walking into church. I saw a big black Cadillac outside. I said, "Is that for the preacher?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, I know where we are." Well, I told him before we get into church, I said, "I'm sorry, now don't ask me for no collection." He said, "What you mean?" I said, "Jesus Christ wore sandals. I ain't putting no gas in his Cadillac." We're just showing beginnings. We went into the church. As we walked up in the church, I spied through the door an African minister. I looked to the left, I saw the deacon board. They were all African. I looked to the right, I saw the amen corner. They were all African. And as we got a little bit further inside the door of the church was rocking like only an African church can rock. I was happy. I grabbed my brother's hand. As we took another step forward, I saw it. A picture of a white Jesus standing right there. I stopped in my tracks. I said, brother, before I could say anything, I know you racist, right? You expect everything to be African, African, African. I said, do you expect me to want everything European, European, European? He said, no, you're just racist. It don't make no difference. I said, if it don't make no difference, why is he white? Of course. Of course. There's a reason for everything. Like the sister fryer here. Why'd you do it? It don't make no difference. Well, you sure go through a lot of trouble for no difference. Of course, there's a reason for everything. I said, no, my brother. He said, no. He said, ain't nothing. I said, no, I ain't no Christian, but I read the Bible. You ain't no Christian because you say you're Christian, but you ain't never read the Bible. Because if you read the Bible, you could never bow down before a white Jesus. No way. No way. As a matter of fact, the confusion that we have is that our people don't even read the Bible. I said, look at the confusion. We are more enthusiastic about religion and we don't even study it. What about our history? What about politics? What about economics? What about our culture? What about? Look at it. No study at all of it. I said, you're crazy. I said, as a matter of fact, if our people were reading the Bible, there wouldn't be all this confusion over Judaism and Zionism. The people would come to understand clearly that Judaism is a religion and Zionism is an illegal, backward, racist political system which must be destroyed and will be destroyed. Of course. Of course. We said, just by reading the Bible, they would see it. If you would read the Bible, you would know that the leading prophet of Judaism, Moses, was born in Africa. As a matter of fact, if you would read the Bible, you would know Judaism began in Africa. Of course, if you will look and study just Judaism, you will see the great thing, that the greatest contribution that Moses is credited with is taking the concept of one God. But if you will take just a quick look at history, you will see the concept of one God had long been worked out in Egypt before Moses was born. We say we're not being rhetorical, we're not just being demagogic, we're speaking scientific fact. It's in the Bible. I said there would be no confusion. In the Bible, it tells us that Moses married an Ethiopian woman, Hannah. And this Ethiopian woman, Hannah, gave Moses many children who made up the children of Israel. Once we understand this, there's no confusion. To be Jewish isn't to be of an ethnic or national origin. It's to be of a religious persuasion. End of discussion. End of discussion. Confusion everywhere. I told the man, I said, I'm confused. I can't understand this. I said, you know nothing about Christianity. If you would read the Bible, the first country mentioned in the Bible, chapter 2 of Genesis, verse 13, is Ethiopia. It's in the Bible. If the versions you read may have Cush spelled C-U-S-H or K-U-S-H, if you go to an authoritative source, they will tell you C-U-S-H, K-U-S-H is nothing but the old name for Ethiopia. Genesis 2, verse 13. Capitalist system can have them so confused they read and don't know what they read, even though they repeat what they read. I told the man, I said, you're really crazy. I said, you know nothing about this. How can you have a white Jesus? I said, in the first place, Christianity didn't originate in Europe. That's clear. It originated in Africa. Not only did it originate in Africa, everybody knows that in order for Christianity to enter Europe, it fought a bloody battle. And to be entrenched in Europe, it fought an even bloodier battle. Some of the bloodiest battles that humanity has ever seen. They were tossing men to lions. Said, when you are not conscious, they will make mincemeat out of you. Here you come without even studying it. You call yourself a Christian. You're bowing down before a white Jesus. Christianity didn't originate in Europe in the first place. All they do in Europe is that when it finally entered, they took it, nationalized it, gave it a European personality, painted Jesus Christ white, sent him back out to conquer the world in the name of Jesus Christ for European imperialism. Of course. It's clear. It is clear. It is crystal clear. My brother was now shook. I said, I'm sorry, my brother. You just don't know the Bible. And I can't be with you. I'm not a Christian. But if I'm going to be with a Christian, I got to be with a Christian. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Not all those who say, Lord, Lord. You understand what I'm talking about? You understand what I said? Well, he says it. I read it all the time. I'm not Muslim. I read the Quran. I just figure that any book that has affected these many people for this length of time need to be read by every intelligent man and woman. That's what I figure. I figure. Man, it's crazy. Matter of fact, I don't think any Christian can be a true Christian, not only if they haven't read the Bible, but if they haven't read the Quran. Of course. I met a man the other day tell me he was a Christian condemning Islam. I said, you're a stupid man. You must defend the integrity of all religions. Stupidity. Everywhere. We say that this man didn't read his Bible. In the Bible, Europe doesn't come till near the end of the Bible. You don't read about Europe anywhere, even in the Old Testament. If he read the Bible, he would know Jesus Christ could be just about any color, but the one color he definitely could not be is white. Our attempt here is to show how the capitalist system can so confuse one that if one is not engaged in constant struggle against it, one can think one is doing something proper when in fact it is a fact. Anybody who bows down before a white Jesus Christ is abusing Christianity. Of course. In the first place, according to Christianity, Jesus Christ was the Son of God. If you paint him white, you know exactly what you're saying. Because even if Mary was a sister, you understand that black is the dominant gene. Therefore, Jesus definitely couldn't be white. I'm just showing you things that we do every day without thinking. Our people must be organized. In order to organize them, it calls for critical study. The intelligentsia of a country must come to the aid of the masses of the people. The African intelligentsia must definitely come to the aid of the masses of the people. Not only must they come to the aid of the mass of people, they must know it is because of the mass of the people that they enjoy the positions that they now enjoy, and therefore they must, in fact, give back what they've learned to the people. We say it all the time. If you came here in the 1960s to Sacramento State, college, you would see, that's tomorrow, Sacramento State, isn't it? You would see that in the 1960s, the number of African students here today are significant. Of course, everything is relative. And when we say significant, we mean significant only to the past, not to the present, nor to the future. Today, you'll find them in significant numbers. The fact is, the only reason why they're here in significant numbers today is because the masses of the people fought and struggled against the capitalist system, and the capitalist system, in order to cool down the masses, had to grant concessions. Giving seats at the university was one of these concessions. Any student who occupies this seat occupies a concession from the blood of the masses of the people. It is clear. Crystal clear. Crystal clear. Here, the student understanding this understands that the position they occupy belongs to the people. Everything they learn in this position must go back to the people. Our people must be organized. We said in the beginning that we've come to ask those who are dedicated, those who are sincere, those who are conscious, and those who understand that when the people are oppressed, if you are not fighting against the oppression of the people, by your very act of inactivity, you are against the people. We come then to get those who understand that we must come to dedicate our lives to the most important thing, the freedom of the masses of our people. The freedom of our people is more important than a college degree. The freedom of our people is more important than a big house and a big car. The freedom of our people is more important than a light-skinned sister with long hair. The freedom of our people is more important than our life itself. Those of you who are interested, immediately after the question and answer period, we will meet in Rother North, 258, to have some questions and to explain a little bit about our party before we take questions. You may disagree with everything that was presented here to you this afternoon, starting in the morning. You may say, we went to hear this man, Kwame Ture. Remember him in the 60s. They said he was crazy in the 60s, but today in the 80s, he's more extreme. Well, the situation is more extreme. Malcolm said extreme conditions call for extreme solutions, clearly. You may say, that man talks about Africa, I ain't got nothing to do with Africa. That man talked about revolution, I ain't got nothing to do with revolution, etc., etc. No problem. That is to say, you may disagree with everything we say. Well, we are a revolutionary party. We can understand it. We are a revolutionary party. We're not afraid of anybody. We're not like the others. We're not trying to be mayors. We're not trying to be congressmen. We're not trying to be ambassadors. We're going to destroy the American capitalist system. We're a revolutionary party. Therefore, you must see us. We can understand. We are Nkrumahs. Nkrumah teaches us the secret of life is to have no fear. We're not afraid of anything. We tell the American capitalist system, we tell imperialism, we tell colonialism, we tell neocolonialism, we're going to destroy you. We tell Zionism, you are illegal, racist, immoral. The Palestinians going to destroy you, and we're trying to join them on the front lines to get you. Of course. We tell the FBI and the CIA, the people are going to trample you under their feet, and we are going to be in the front lines trampling you, because we know you're stupid. Of course they are. They just confuse you with their propaganda to make you think they're intelligent. They're so stupid, they couldn't even find Patricia Hertz. She had to surrender. You know, hey, clowns. Yes, oh yes. Of course, we say ours is a revolutionary party. We're not afraid of anything. Come to shoot us and we'll tell you, pull the trigger. You got to die too. Poof. You don't scare nobody. Some people may not want the Revolutionary Party, and they may disagree with what we said. Fine. You may disagree with everything we've said, but one thing you cannot disagree with: our people must be organized. Of course, the only way we will be organized, the only way we will be free, is when each of us takes the responsibility upon our shoulders individually to make the collective will go forward. Our people must be organized. If you do not agree with the All-African People's Revolutionary Party, if you do not come to Rhoda North 258 after the question and answer period, we will be a little bit upset. We would like you to come. Those who come, we will seriously work with them and try to explain to them the process of helping to organize the masses of our people, which is the central task. Those who do not come, all right. One thing we must say to them is, if you do not agree with our organization, there's no problem, because there are many organizations out here. The National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, Urban League, Republic of New Africa, Operation Push, and on the local level, a host of organizations. If you understand your responsibility to life, that is to say, if you understand that you have a responsibility to struggle for the liberation of the masses of your people, then you will know that every organization in your community that's struggling for the people, you must know these organizations. You must know their goals. You must know their programs. You must know their ideology. It is your job to come to know them. The organization which you think represents the best solution or the most correct solution to the people's problem, that is the organization you must get into and help push it forward. If, after taking careful study, you look and you find, and careful participation, you look and you find no organization meeting what you consider to be the correct solution for the people, then you have the responsibility to create the organization that's going to lead the people to their freedom. Everybody got to do something. We said it. I said to a man the other day, I said, my brother, we must organize. I said, if you're not an organization, you're against the people. He said, no. I said, I'm telling you, if at this time you're not an organization, you're against the people. He said, no. I said, it's true, because if you're not an organization, you're by yourself, and no one man can free the people. He thought. I said, don't even think. I'm telling you, if one man could free the people, I'd have done it. I wouldn't wait for you. Of course. The people can only be freed by the people when they are properly organized. The people can only be freed by the people when they are properly organized. I told him, I said, you must get into an organization. He said, well, you know, there's a lot of organizations out here, and I'm confused, so I'm just looking and looking and looking. I stopped him. I said, my brother, you will never learn swimming by looking at the water. You only learn by doing. You will not learn organizing your people by looking at organizations, but by getting into organization. It is clear then, If you no longer want to be used as mincemeat by capitalism against your people, you must be in an organization. If you're not in an organization, just by not being in the organization, whether you know it or not, you are already mincemeat by the capitalist system. Simply because we will not solve the problem until we are organized. It is the first step. If you do not join our organization, we tell you that you should join another organization in the community immediately. As a matter of fact, if you are truly concerned about the liberation of the masses of our people, you must be in an organization. If you're not, you jive them. As always, we stand ready for the revolution. We thank you. I guess we'll begin with questions. Can we get some people from the party just to make sure it's Rhoda North 258 after the question and answer period? Those who must leave, we ask you to leave quietly. Please give your names to the party people outside if you're interested but can't come to the orientation session. And those who want to ask questions, we just wait for a few minutes, we'll start. As soon as they clear the room, we'll start with questions.